meet again. This time we will cover the topic clocks. In clocks, we are focusing our attention on the relative placement of the minute and the hour hand. By relative placement, I mean the angle between them. So when we say hands, we typically refer to the minute and the hour hands. Very, very rarely is the second hand going to come into question. What are the types of questions? Usually a time is given and we need to find the angle between the two hands. A tougher one will be an angle is given and we need to find the time at which that angle takes place. Three special angles. At what time are the hands together? Together means angle is 0. What time are the hands opposite each other? Hands opposite each other means the angle would be 180 and hands are at right angles. That is, angle is 90 degrees. We will be looking at a clock as a circular track and the minute and hour hands are moving clockwise in this circular track. So distance that we are going to measure very, very obliquely, very marginally, we are going to refer to concept of time, speed and distance. So distance here is going to be measured in terms of degrees. Okay, so my track length I could say is nothing but 360 degrees. And this track is divided into 12 hours. Right? 12, 1, 2, 3 till 11. And so each hour is equivalent to 30 degrees. Now this is something that I'm going to use very often and without explaining it at any moment. So you should be very comfortable with this. What I mean is at an integral hour. That means I'm saying my minute hand is at 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So it is a perfect complete hour, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So the minute hand is at 12 degrees. So if it is 1 o'clock, I am saying the angle between the hands is going to be 30. So at 1 o'clock, here it is also appropriate to tell that this clock, the AM PM is irrelevant. It is a 12-hour clock. So time is going to be measured as 1 o'clock or 1:25. 1:35. The AM PM is usually dropped, right? Only when it is relevant, when the question specifically makes it a point to ask, is it in the morning or is it in the evening? Otherwise, as far as the angle goes, it doesn't matter whether it's the morning or the evening, right? So at 1 o'clock, the angle is 30 degrees. At 2 o'clock, the angle would become 60 degrees. Right, so this is what I meant, that I'm going to be very fast here. I'm not going to draw a clock. In fact, I would always urge you, do not take help of the diagram. It is just the beginning lecture, so I'm just using them. Otherwise, try to avoid it. The angle is going to be 90 degrees, so it seems very easy. Till the time you reach 6 o'clock, where the angle will be 180, which also seems pretty cool with us, right? At 6 o'clock, the angle is going to be there in a straight line opposite each other. So it is 180. At 7 o'clock, the angle between the two hands is going to be 210. 7 into 30. Now, this is the point where I would start telling you that this angle that we are talking now is this big angle measured in the clockwise direction starting from 12. I repeat, our angles very often will start from 12 and measure it in the clockwise direction. Right? So this angle is more than 180 degrees. In fact, it is called the reflex angle. So if I would ask a geometry, had this been a geometry question and I would have asked you what is the angle between the two hands, almost all of us would have focused on this angle, which is obtuse angle. Right, the one which is less than 180. In fact, almost all our angles are measured in the range 0 to 180. Whenever the angle is more than 180, we typically, I've already said it's called the reflex angle, we typically move to the counterpart, the other part of the angle, right? So, but here we are not going to do it as of now. So if I continue and I say the angle at 10 o'clock, at 10 into 3, that is 300. So let me draw that angle once again here. This is 10 o'clock now. And the angle is from 12 in the clockwise direction. It's a very large angle. The other angle, 60 degrees, is far more regular to be measured, but we'll continue measuring it in this way. At 11 o'clock, the angle is 330. So I'm ending this part just saying that the range of angles could be 0 to 360 degrees, which as to mark our answer, we might need to convert it back to the range of 0 to 180 degrees. We would also need to know the speeds of the two hands. That is what this part is all about. So minute hand, the larger one, the one which moves faster, just put in a comment whatever you know. It is going to cover how much distance, and I'll remind you distance is measured in degrees. So how much distance is it going to cover in how much minutes? Now we know that the minute hand covers one full round. One full round is 360 degrees in 60 minutes. That is 1 hour. Right? So this would translate to a unit of speed as 360 divided by 60, 6 degrees per minute. So my unit will remain as degrees per minute. Right? The same thing when I do for an hour hand. Now you anticipate and put it, there's no right or wrong answer, as in you can have different answers. I might give a different answer, you might give a different answer. So first do it and then continue looking at it. So one might say it covers 360 degrees in 12 hours. But now 12 hours is a large time period. One could also have said it covers 1 hour, that is 30 degrees. It covers that one part in 60 minutes. Either ways, whichever way you go ahead, you can easily find the speed as half a degree per minute. Half a degree per minute. Now these are two numbers that you have to know, but more importantly, remember both are traveling in the clockwise direction. So more important is the relative speed, since both of them are traveling at the same time. Right? Now I'm not going to spend too much time on explaining the relative speed part here, but what I'm saying is when two people run together, you cannot treat them independently. The first guy reaches the second guy's position. The second guy would have gone a little ahead. The first guy again reaches a little ahead. The second guy would have gone a little ahead. So when two people move together, you find the minute hand gains. The more important word here is gains. The minute hand gains over how many degrees? Over the hour hand. The minute hand gains how many? 6 minus half, that many degrees per minute. So this 5.5 is a very important value that we'll be using continuously, and since it is in a mixed fraction, when we need to do calculations, we are going to convert it to a fraction, an improper fraction. 5 2s are 10, 10 plus 1, 11 by 2 degrees per minute. So three numbers, absolute fast in your mind, 6 degrees, half, and the most important 5.5 or 11 by 2.